Making the headlines tonight. Outgoing Lao Ambassador Ampai Kindavong pays a visit to the National Assembly President Heng Samrin and discussed about the cooperation achievements between the two nations. Japanese Ambassador to Cambodia Mikami Masahiro visits Prime Minister Hun Sen, talking about further aid to Cambodia, as well as inviting his son Hun Manet to Japan. Future Prime Ministerial candidate of the Cambodian People's Party, Hun Manet, places a bet with Sam Rainsy, saying that if Sam Rainsy can find any evidence that his 3 degrees are fake, he will step down. Enthusiasm for winter sports is hitting an all-time high across China as the Beijing Winter Olympic Games draws near. And a 24-year-old woman in Iraq tries to bring happiness and joy to internally displaced children facing difficult circumstances. This is the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News Channel. I'm Raya Soko. A very good evening to you. The National Assembly President Heng Samrin has received a visit from the Ambassador of the Lao People's Democratic Republic, Ampai Kindavong, on Tuesday morning. During his visit to the National Assembly, the Lao Ambassador has thanked Heng Samrin as well as the whole National Assembly for their good cooperation in contributing to his diplomatic mission. EAC News reporter Yuri Matusko has the story.
The National Assembly President Heng Samrin has praised and appreciated the efforts of Lao Ambassador Ampai Kindavong in his diplomatic mission to Cambodia over the past 3 years, which have brought many achievements and actively contributed to the promotion of traditional friendship and solidarity and cooperation between the government and people of Cambodia and Laos. Heng Samrin has also stressed that despite the global crisis of COVID-19, the bilateral cooperation between both nations has continued steadily with quality and efficiency. The President has spoken on behalf of the National Assembly, showing his satisfaction with the cooperation between Cambodia and Laos in the fields of politics, diplomacy, economy, trade, investment, tourism, education, and vocational training. The Ambassador of Lao People's Democratic Republic, Ampai Kindavong, has supported the remarks made by Samdech Heng Samrin. The ambassador thanked the President of the National Assembly as well as the National Assembly of Cambodia for their good cooperation in contributing to his diplomatic mission to great success. He noted that despite the outbreak of COVID-19 during his 3-year diplomatic mission in Cambodia, he made efforts to promote visits between the leaders of the two countries. Ampai Kindavong has also stressed that it's possible for both legislature and executive branch to promote fraternal cooperation between the nations and its people to become even more stronger. The ambassador has especially thanked the royal government of Cambodia for their support of Laos in all circumstances, especially on the occasion of the COVID-19 epidemic. He stated that even if Cambodia has its own necessities regarding the fight against COVID-19, the kingdom has provided $13 million medical equipment and vaccines to the neighbor country of Laos. Ampai Kindavong thanked the National Assembly of Cambodia through the Cambodia-Laos Parliamentary Friendship Group for providing scholarships to Lao National Assembly officials to study in Cambodia. He emphasized that although he will have to leave Cambodia to fulfill his new duties, he will keep good relations with Cambodia and will try to mobilize more Lao citizens to visit Cambodia. The Cambodian President of the National Assembly, Samdech Heng Samrin, has stated that in 2022, the National Assembly and the Royal Government of Cambodia will be chairing the ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly and the ASEAN Summit. He hopes that the National Assembly and the government of Laos will continue to support the important role of the Cambodian National Assembly and the royal government in bringing success and prosperity for both nations and the ASEAN region as a whole. Yuri Matusko, EAC News.
The Japanese government has pledged to Prime Minister Hun Sen that more investments will come to the Kingdom of Cambodia. This was revealed during the visitation of Japanese Ambassador Mikami Masahiro to Prime Minister Hun Sen on Tuesday morning. Apart from bringing the news of more Japanese investments to the kingdom, The Japanese government has also invited the son of the Prime Minister, Honmane, to visit their country. The Japanese ambassador has visited Prime Minister Hun Sen at his house in Tacmau City. The ambassador has informed Prime Minister Hun Sen that other companies are also proposing to establish a natural gas and solar power plant in Cambodia. Prime Minister's personal assistant, Ieng Supalit, says the ambassador of Japan informed the Prime Minister about the good cooperation between the government of Japan and the royal government of Cambodia, especially on the fight against COVID-19. That includes in the field of health, in which Japan provided 300,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine to Cambodia. Supalit also says that Japan's invitation to Honmane is to strengthen the ties between the two nations. The ambassador also informed about the docking of the Japanese Navy self-defense ship in Sihanoukville in the near future. It is to celebrate the 30th anniversary of peacekeeping cooperation. At the same time, he has relayed Japan's support to promote Sihanoukville port to become the core port of the Kingdom of Cambodia. In the field of regional cooperation, especially cooperation within the framework of ASEAN, Ambassador Mikami Masahiro has informed the Prime Minister that Japan has provided some vehicles to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as some equipment, and Japan is ready to provide cooperation to support Cambodia on how to make a success as the future chair of ASEAN. In response, Prime Minister Hun Sen welcomed the intention of the government of Japan to invite Honmane to pay an official visit to Japan and the landing of a naval self-defense ship in Cambodia. For the upcoming 30th anniversary of peacekeeping cooperation in 2022, the Prime Minister proposed to organize this anniversary to strengthen and expand cooperation between Cambodia and Japan in the field of defense. Prime Minister Hun Sen has thanked the government of Japan, as well as the people of Japan, for their assistance in providing Cambodia with vaccines and other assistance in assisting Cambodia in preventing and combating the pandemic. He also expressed gratitude for the provision of vehicles, equipment, and cooperation, as well as the support to ensure that Cambodia is successful in leading the ASEAN chairmanship in the future. A youth rehabilitation center was officially inaugurated on Tuesday in Baku Commune, Kandalstang District of Kandal Province. The new center will receive defendants, convicts, and inmates under the age of 18 to help rehabilitate and reintegrate them back into society. EAC News reporter Darshana Gauchan has more details.
Speaking at the inauguration ceremony, the Minister of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth Rehabilitation, Vong South, said that the current operation of the Youth Rehabilitation Center has contributed to the promotion of the law on juvenile justice, as well as the protection of rights, safety, and physical and mental well-being of detainees in accordance with national laws abiding by the United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for the Administration of Juvenile Justice and the United Nations Rules for the Protection of Juveniles Deprived of Their Liberty. Minister Vong South said, rehabilitating and reintegrating prisoners who have already served their sentences into society and the community. The Youth Rehabilitation Center also contributes to addressing the problem of overcrowded prisons. This is the first center of its kind in Cambodia that we have never had before. In launching the new center, 50 minors have been sent on probation as a first step. Also speaking at the inauguration ceremony was the Minister of Interior, Saw King, who said that the issues faced by the younger generations are the concern of the royal government in order to help orient their futures as well as the nation. He said that the royal government cannot leave children and youth to continue damaging their futures. That is why this new Youth Rehabilitation Center has been established. Minister Saw King said, "It means that we pay attention to youth, help them, and focus on them to make them change. We already have schools across the country, although some places they are located far away. We have secondary schools in all communes. Some communes even have up to 2 schools. And if it is in the capital city, some even have up to 3. It is important to grow bamboo shoots, and when they are damaged, we will help them to regrow. So this new rehabilitation center will aid minors in need of help to grow." He added that there are currently 1,422 juveniles in prison across the country, including 450 suspects, 310 defendants, 421 convicts, and 241 inmates. The offenses committed by these minors include 452 drug-related offenses, 125 robberies, 109 thefts, 34 murders, 31 rapes, and 671 other offenses. The construction of the Youth Rehabilitation Center began on 30th March 2020 and was completed on 30th May 2021. The center has 92 staff rooms for living and working officers, and bedrooms, maintenance rooms, and adjoining rooms that can accommodate up to 1,140 minors. The Ministry of Social Affairs also plans to set up a training center for minors at the center in the future. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
The future prime ministerial candidate of the Cambodian People's Party, Hun Manet, has placed a bet with Sam Rainsy, saying that if Sam Rainsy can find any evidence that his 3 degrees, including a bachelor's degree from the United States Military Academy, a master's degree in economics from New York University, and a PhD in economics from Bristol University as second class or honorary degrees, then he'll step down as future prime ministerial candidate. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the details.
Hun Manet, the Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces and Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Cambodian Army, wrote about the bet on his official Facebook page while sharing videos of Sam Rainsy speaking on 28 September 2019 and 25 December 2021, claiming that his degrees are second class or just honorary diplomas. In the video, Sam Rainsy says, the honorary degree, if the father is a senior official or the prime minister, if their child goes to foreigner schools that they will pass, but the degree will not allow them to work in the foreign country, because that degree is given to the descendants of officials from other countries, where they want to have good ambassador relations. The degree is not as valuable as the degree that is given to the people who study from the beginning and at the full level. They only give a second-class degree. In response to this accusation, Hun Manet wrote asking, "Does Mr. Sam Rainsy dare to bet with me?" The condition of the bet said by Hun Manet is that if Sam Rainsy can find evidence that Hun Manet was not competent, studied below the school standards and was awarded a kind of second-class degree or honorary degree from the 3 schools where he studied, then Hun Manet will resign from his position as the future prime ministerial candidate of the Cambodian People's Party. On the other hand, if Sam Rainsy cannot officially confirm that the degrees Hun Manet holds are of second class or honorary nature, then Sam Rainsy must resign from politics from now on. Hun Manet wrote in his Facebook post, "Once again, to protect my honor and dignity as a student who has graduated abroad and to represent all Cambodian students studying abroad, I would like to ask Mr. Sam Rainsy to bet again and hope that Mr. Sam Rainsy will not use the strategy of white-eared chicken again. The white-eared chicken always backstabs but then runs away when you fight back. But then when you start to walk away, the white-eared chicken will begin chasing from behind again." Prime Minister Hun Sen also wrote a post on his Facebook page referring to his son's latest bet with Sam Rainsy. He wrote, "Listen to the younger and discipline the bad elder. It's great, like taking a baby buffalo to fight with an old buffalo. If angry, do not play. If playing, do not be angry." Sending a message to old politicians but lacking the courage to take responsibility. In 2019, Hun Manet had already called a bet with Sam Rainsy on similar degree-related accusations, but at the time, Sam Rainsy did not accept the bet and also continued to attack Hun Manet's degree, saying the US Academy gave him a degree for foreigner students that is considered lower than degrees given to American students. At the time, there was backlash from other students who also study abroad who felt that Sam Rainsy was underestimating the value of diplomas that Cambodian students were attaining abroad. U.S. Embassy spokeswoman Emily V. Zierberg confirmed at the time that higher education in the United States does not depend on the country of origin, and that degrees that foreigner students receive are worth at the same as the degrees that students from the U.S. receive as well. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Cambodia has recorded a drop of COVID-19 cases on Tuesday. Only 5 new cases have been found in the kingdom by the Ministry of Health overnight. 2 of them are the Omicron variant, but imported cases, while the 3 are locally transmitted. This now makes the total COVID-19 tally of the whole country at 120,469. On the positive side, 11 patients have recovered. Cambodia's total of patients recovered from COVID-19 are 116,885. There is still one death recorded on Tuesday. The death toll now stands at 3,010. The Kingdom of Cambodia's active cases of COVID-19 are 574. The Ministry of Commerce has released a report for 2021 showing that Cambodia's export in the first 10 months of this year has declined 2% compared to the same period last year, while the import has increased by 58% in the same 10 months of this year. EAC News reporter Yuri Matusko has the details.
The export of Cambodian goods in the first 10 months of this year is 2% less to the same period in 2020, equals to $14.286 million less, while imports has reached 23.06 million, an increase of 58%. According to the report, the largest exporter to Cambodia is the United States, with over $6 billion amounted. A second comes the European Union, with more than $2.6 billion, followed by China taking $1 billion. Asian imports to Cambodia reaches more than $10 billion and China nearly $8 billion. Cambodia's largest exports are goods in garments, footwear, travel equipment, machinery, and electrical appliances, while Cambodia's imports are textiles, construction materials, and metal. Ministry of Commerce spokesman Siang Tai told EAC News the reason for the sharp increase in imports in the first 10 months of 2021 is due to the impact of COVID-19, with Cambodia in need to import lots of raw materials to serve the export and national development. He added that such imports of raw materials, which Cambodia does not have in hand to support the growing production, is a good sign of development. Siang Tai has stated that it's true that Cambodia, like other countries, has been affected by COVID-19, leading to export barriers. However, some of Cambodia's main exports remain strong. In terms of re-importation, we import essential goods such as textile, yarn, machinery, steel, cement, and etc. to serve the production of textiles, construction, and agriculture. He has also added that Cambodian imports all kinds of oil, which makes the import figures increase significantly. According to Siang Tai, the trend of exports may have some increase at the end of the year. Yuri Matusko, EAC News.
In the first 11 months of this year, Cambodia has seen the number of road accidents decrease by 18% compared to the same period in 2020. Such difference stands for 533 less accidents in 2021. The difference is even higher comparing to the accidents with injuries. EAC News reporter Darshana Gauchan has the story.
According to the new report released on Monday by the National Road Safety Committee, there were 162 more deaths last year than the same time this year, indicating a decrease of 11% in 2021. The difference is even bigger when accounting for accidents that have caused injuries. The cases of traffic accidents with no deaths have decreased 26%, which is around 1,120 less cases compared to 2020. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Interior and President of the National Road Safety Committee, Saw King, has congratulated the work of officials responsible for enforcing the law and the hardships of ensuring the decrease of road accidents. The Deputy Prime Minister has also reminded all citizens to keep following and respecting traffic laws, safeguarding themselves and others driving along the roads. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
Archbishop Desmond Tutu, South Africa's Nobel Peace Prize-winning icon, a veteran of the struggle against white minority rule, died on Sunday at the age of 90. Desmond Mpilo Tutu was a South African Anglican bishop and theologian, known for his work as an anti-apartheid and human rights activist. He was Bishop of Johannesburg from 1985 to 1986. And then Archbishop of Cape Town from 1986 to 1996, in both cases being the first Black African to hold the position. He was considered a universal spirit. Many people paid tribute to Tata as what they fondly called him, But due to COVID restrictions, only 100 people can attend the funeral for South Africa's anti-apartheid hero. It was announced in Cape Town on Monday. Archbishop of Cape Town, Thabo Makgoba, has announced around 400 to 500 people were on a list of possible attendees for the funeral on the 1st of January. COVID regulations has restricted attendance at funerals to a maximum of 100. Only a fraction of those who want to be there can be accommodated in the cathedral. Archbishop Makgoba has asked people not to get into a bus to Cape Town. They have arranged those cathedrals and the local parishes so that it cater for everyone's needs. On Friday, Archbishop Tutu will lie in state at St. George's Cathedral in the city ahead of his funeral service at 10 a.m. on Saturday, led by the city's Archbishop Makgoba. Nobel Prize winner Tutu, who had preached against the tyranny of the white minority and was reversed as his nation's moral conscience by those black and white, had led numerous campaigns and marches against apartheid from the St. George steps. Mourners have laid flowers in tribute to Tutu outside what has become known as the People's Cathedral and a powerful symbol of democracy, where a black and white image of Tutu was attached to a fence. China, through its Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman in Beijing on Monday, has expressed its grave concern over the firm opposition to Japan's ongoing preparation for the ocean discharge and has urged Japan to revoke its decision to dump contaminated water from the Fukushima nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean and stop all preparatory work for the discharge. Spokesman Zhao Lijian has made remarks at a daily news briefing in response to reports that there are growing concerns over the Japanese nuclear contaminated water discharge decision.
According to the reports, Tetsuo Nozaki, head of the Fukushima Prefectural Federation of Fisheries Cooperative Associations, has told Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, Koichi Hagiota, on December 23 that he could not understand why the nuclear contaminated water that should be stored will be discharged into places where people live, while deeply regretting Tokyo Electric Power Company's proceeding with the discharge in violation of its earlier commitment and without gaining relevant people's understanding. Meanwhile, Republic of Korea Foreign Ministry officials have summoned officials of the Japanese Embassy in Seoul recently to express concern over Japan's pushing forward the ocean discharge process and forwarded a diplomatic letter stating the ROK's position. Zhao has said the reports proved that Japan's claimed science-based and transparent disposal of the contaminated water is not accepted either domestically or internationally. Zhao has described Japan's unilateral decision to dump contaminated water as self-deception by citing a Chinese going derived from an ancient story of someone trying to steal a bell with his ears plugged. He urged the Japanese side to respond to the concern of its neighboring countries and revoke the ocean discharge decision.
Russian-backed separatists in Ukraine's east has said the conflict with Kyiv authorities will continue despite election promises made by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The Russian annexed the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine in 2014 and backed pro-Russian separatists who seized a swath of Donetsk and Luhansk regions in eastern Ukraine that same year, and continued to fight Ukrainian government forces.
Russian-backed separatists in East Ukraine have said the conflict with Kiev authorities will continue despite election promises made by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine in 2014 and backed pro-Russian separatists who seized a swath of Donetsk and Luhansk regions in eastern Ukraine that same year and continue to fight Ukrainian government forces there. Zelensky has won a landslide election in 2019, promising to end the conflict. But after some initial confidence-building measures, including prisoner exchanges, fighting has flared up. Zelensky's words appear to be empty, says Sergei, manning a trench in Ukraine's Luhansk region. He has added that America and the West decide everything for them. More than 10,000 Russian troops have been returning to their permanent bases after month-long drills near Ukraine on Christmas Day, cited the Russian military. The drills were held in several regions near Ukraine, including in Crimea, as well as in the southern Russian regions of Rostov and Kuban. Russia's deployment of tens of thousands of troops to the north, east, and south of Ukraine had fueled fears in Kiev and western capitals that Moscow was planning an attack. Russia denies any such plans, saying it needs pledges from the West, including a promise from NATO not to expand the alliance eastward towards Russian borders, because its own security is threatened by Ukraine's growing ties with the Western alliance. Moscow also says that it can deploy its troops on its territory as it sees fit. Estimates for the number of Russian troops that have recently moved closer to Ukraine vary from 60,000 to 90,000, with one U.S. intelligence document suggesting that number could be ramped up as high as 175,000.
Now for a look at news making international headlines this Tuesday, 28 December.
Raging fires in southern Chile have consumed over 12,000 hectares as of Monday. The largest bushfire has destroyed several homes in Noble region, leaving behind only metal rooftops and appliances. To contain the destruction that has already burned through 1,600 hectares in the Quilon municipality alone, authorities mobilized 4 planes and 5 helicopters along dozens of security and fire brigade officers. Quilon resident Juan Estrada, who lost his home in the fire, says all he has left is what he is wearing right now. In its Monday report, the National Emergency Office of Chile's Interior Ministry indicated 19 fires were active nationwide, while 35 others were already extinguished.
Drone footage shot on Monday has showed floodwater had not receded in parts of the northeastern Brazilian state of Bahia, where search and rescue operations continues. One of the worst hit towns, Itajuípe, in Bahia state, still saw homes, streets, and vehicles half submerged after 2 dams gave way following weeks of heavy rains. The Igua Dam on the Verruga River near the city of Vitória da Conquista in southern Bahia has collapsed on Saturday night, forcing authorities to evacuate residents mainly in the town of Itambé. A second dam gave way to rising water levels in Jussiape, 100 kilometers to the north, on Sunday morning, bringing more alerts for residents to move to safer ground. There were no reports of deaths or injuries caused by the dam failures, though bridges and roads were damaged. Bahia Governor Rui Castro has said the heavy rains have impacted at least 400,000 people and thousands evacuated from some 67 towns facing emergency situations due to the floods caused by heavy rainfall for almost 2 months. Civil defense officials have said that the rains have caused 18 deaths in Bahia since the beginning of November, including a 6-year-old ferry owner who drowned on the swollen Rio das Contas rivers.
And an outbreak of avian flu has killed more than 5,000 migratory cranes in Israel, prompting authorities to declare a popular nature reserve off limits to visitors and warn of possible egg shortage as local poultry are culled as a precaution. Environment Minister Tamar Zandberg has declared it is the worst blow to wildlife in the country's history. Rangers in protective suits collected carcasses from a lake in the northern Hula Nature Reserve and outlying marshes. She said hundreds of thousands of chickens had been culled. Reports say the children who had visited the reserve may have possibly touched a stricken crane and thus contributed to the spread of the flu. Authorities were looking to import eggs from abroad and avert an egg shortage due to the cull.
After the break, a look at the latest sports news.
EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the daily Roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia made clear. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Enthusiasm for winter sports is hitting an all-time across China as the Beijing Winter Olympic Games draws near and local governments beef up efforts in building facilities and holding events to promote the ice and snow sports culture. North China's Hubei province, home to Zhangjiakou, co-host city of Beijing 2022, is warming up for the coming Olympics.
The third Hebei Ice and Snow Games kicked off Sunday in the city of Baoding with nearly 5,000 players aged 7 to 60 ready to compete in 17 disciplines and 7 sports. Since it was launched in 2019, the Games have seen a threefold increase in the number of participants, contributing a lot to the popularity of winter sports across the province. Hebei has so far built 202 indoor skating centers and 109 ski resorts. More than 38,000 winter sports competitions involving some 30 million residents have been held in the year of 2021. Beijing, the first city ever to host both the Summer and Winter Olympics, launched its 8th Citizens Happy Ice and Snow season last week. The season, lasting until April next year, will include a number of sports and cultural events for residents in a bid to spread the winter sports culture and stimulate consumption in related industries. Following the start of the event, a ski resort in suburban Miyun district has seen an increasing number of children coming for training and entertainment. With the approach of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics, the Nanshan Resort has received a record number of 400,000 visitors during the last winter season despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The Beijing municipal authorities announced Monday that the city has introduced winter sports to schools across all 16 districts. The city's ice rinks and snow resorts have increased from 108 before it won the bid for the 2022 Winter Olympics to 211 now, Ge Jun, deputy director of the Beijing Municipal Bureau of Sports, told a press conference. The charm of the upcoming Winter Olympics is drawing more and more young people to stadiums. At an ice rink in Yinchuan City of northwest China's Ningxia Autonomous Region, a group of young ice hockey players were training with rapt attention under the guidance of their coach. Formed in 2015, the team currently has 12 players, with the eldest being 12 and the youngest only 7 years old. Among them is 11-year-old Chen Ke, who joined the team in 2017 and participated in the National Youth Ice Hockey Invitational Tournament last year. Chen said the sports helped build up both his physical strength and willpower. These teenagers are looking forward to showcasing themselves and winning glory for China one day through their hard training.
Strikers Robert Lewandowski and Kylian Mbappe scooped the main trophies in offer at a glitzy Dubai Globe Soccer Awards ceremony on Monday, hosted at the foot of the Burj Khalifa. Bayern Munich's Polish forward Lewandowski was named the TikTok Fans Player of the Year, as well as the Diego Maradona Award winner for top goal scorer.
France and PSG forward Kylian Mbappe bagged the Men's Player of the Year trophy.
To my family, they are there with me, always with me. It's a big pleasure to be here, and it's a big motivation to keep.
Cristiano Ronaldo, preparing for a trip to Newcastle with Manchester United during the ceremony, received the top goal scorer of all-time accolade, while former Brazilian legend Ronaldinho's career was celebrated with a special award. European champions Italy won the National Team of the Year award, with Italians Roberto Mancini, the Coach of the Year, and Leonardo Bonucci and Gianluigi Donnarumma, the Defender and Goalkeeper of the Year, respectively. Champions League winners Chelsea were named the Men's Club of the Year.
Now let's have a look at tomorrow's weather condition. Finally, when Shaima Al-Abasi was just a child, war drove her and her family to a displaced people's camp where she was forced to leave school and marry at a young age. Feeling her childhood was taken away from her, she now tries to bring happiness and joy to children facing difficult circumstances. The 24-year-old woman says she never had a childhood, so she wanted to give it and plant it in these children. She arrives to the camp on a bike, dressed in Santa Claus or Mother Christmas, sings and plays games with children, hands out gifts, and reminds them to pursue their dreams despite the difficulty of displacement.
Since I was a child, I saw children suffer. Since the age of 8 or 9, I started taking on great responsibility, larger than I could bear. I raised my young siblings because of certain circumstances, and my mother was sick. I was forced to leave school. I was forced to marry. At the same time, the circumstances leading to displacement made me care about children. I never had a childhood, so I wanted to give it and plant it in these children.
It is a lovely initiative. The children are so happy. We forget that children need someone to play with and make them happy. And you know the atmosphere of the camp now is cold weather and rain. The children are very cold and they need a clean place and clean environment.
Abasi began her initiative in 2015, at first only wearing a Santa hat. But 2017, she would fully dress as a Mother Christmas, and last year, she took her festive spirit to Mosul. Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News channel. For more updates and breaking news, you can check our website at www.eacnews.asia, or you can search EAC News at your favorite app store, also in Telegram. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8. I'll see you then.